All right, happy Friday. It's that time again, Friday feature time. And we're excited to have Adam Hauser here. We also have Krista here with KEF. I think it's about time we go through a complete overview of the KEF lineup. I don't know, we'll see Adam if he teases about some things that are on the horizon, maybe not. We've been distributing KEF for quite some time. One of our top audio lines going to go through, like I said, the architectural speakers, box speakers, all the way up. Talk about their UniQ technology, the company as a whole. As always, we sell KEF at all 7, going on 8 locations here at 21st Century. So excited to get this overview from Adam and the KEF team. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead and pop them in the Q&A. We'll get those answered for you. We'll have this recorded and on our virtual conference center and on the KEF vendor page on 21stcenturydisc.com. So appreciate you being here, man.
Of course. And the proverbial check, everybody can see my screen?
Yes, we're good.
Well, my name is Adam Hauser, a technical engineer with KEF. Actually, previously was the regional sales manager that covered all of 21st. It's been great to have you guys, and you're a fantastic partner with KEF, along with all your partners or dealers. And then we've got Krista Hoey with us as well. She's our head of sales, been with us since January. She got the tough task of taking over the reins for the entire sales side of KEF America. And it's been great because we've unified a lot of our sales teams. Some of you in the branches will probably start seeing some other people coming in the branch. And it's all about having as many assets out there to help you, those who are behind the counters or those who are ordering, and then the partners as well, the dealers, making sure that we're available to answer questions, help you design projects, help with tech support, help you all be successful and grow your business. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the history of KEF. We're going to kind of dive into some of our special technologies. We're going to dive into all the products that we offer within 21st. And at the end, we'll have some time for some Q&A. And so the big thing to understand about KEF is even though we are a speaker company, it's really all about the music. And for a speaker manufacturer, the most important thing we can do is we can stay true to the music that has been created by the artists out there. And we can stay true to that playback, making sure that when a signal goes through a KEF loudspeaker, we're going to do all we can to make sure that the listener's ears experience exactly what the artist intended. And this is one of Raymond Cook's greatest quotes, kind of about the playback of music. I'm not going to read it for you. I'll let you guys kind of all read through it. And it really just kind of shows the ethos of what we're trying to create. And that's really important because if a company kind of doesn't know where they came from, it's going to make it really difficult for them to make new products and really know what it is we're trying to do out there every single day with you guys, with our partners, and with the end consumer as well. We want the consumer to get an experience that's always going to exceed their expectations. And if we push everything towards that goal of playing back music as truthfully as the artist intended, we know we're always going to exceed those expectations. And so we've been around since 1961. We were formed by a gentleman named Raymond Cook, as I mentioned. He was a BBC engineer, and he had some really unique ideas in the early 60s into understand better music playback, as well as how we were recording music and just the overall experience that was music. And so today we continue to develop a lot of new technologies. We are a very interesting manufacturer, one of a few that actually still manufacture in the way we did back in the 60s. We'll talk about that in a minute. And again, it's all about the music. So we're going to start by talking about the 4 pillars of KEF, and these are really the foundational things that make KEF KEF. There is a million different speaker manufacturers or speaker vendors out there, but we really are truly different when we go all the way back to our heritage and what it is we're trying to do. So first one being over 60 years of heritage, again, formed in 1961. We have industry-leading research and design. We have PhD physicists on staff, and we're always pushing the edge of what can be done in sound reproduction. We are vertically integrated, which gives us a scalability and a uniqueness to create any products that we want to, going in any direction we see necessary. And we have amazing technologies, UniQ, consistent voicing, and a whole host of other technologies that actually just come out in the past few years that allow us to continue to go after that bleeding edge of technology to create that most realistic playback. So again, there's a picture of Raymond Cook with one of the original reference designs in an anechoic chamber. Again, he was a BBC engineer, and why that's important actually is back in the 60s, late 50s, 60s, most radio was just male vocals, and it was funny because he would go from recording studio to recording studio and playback studio, and notice how the same artists, same recording engineers, everything just sounded different. And his big idea was to look at advanced synthetic materials back then, because plastic really didn't exist, and look at how to use these synthetic materials to create a speaker that was more consistent. So that no matter who I played back through my speaker, it was going to be more realistic. And then he also developed a lot of early testing methods with some other engineers in Canada and things to really try to control and create a better playback. That led into really all the research, design, and engineering that we started in the 60s, and we still continue to do to this day. Those two gentlemen are actually two of our head engineers. Standing in the back is Dr. Jack Ockley Brown and George Perkins sitting down there at the computer, and they do a lot of our acoustic engineering. They're constantly writing papers for the Audio Engineering Society. I mean, these guys are our whole team is developing new methods of audio playback that not only help KEF, but also help the entire Audio Engineering Society as well. So from one of the first companies to use computers back in the early 70s, to the initial release of UniQ in 1988, to the LS50s in 2011, and then Unicore in the LS60 and KC62, which we'll talk about in a minute, and Vico technology, which is in our new Zeo soundbar. And so constantly pushing the boundaries, and I can promise you over the next 5 years, next 10 years, you'll see a whole host of new technologies from our research and engineering department. We have an incredible amount of innovation. This is real, actual innovation. This isn't saying, hey, we're going to take a new blend of fiberglass and call it some new marketing tag word. No, like these are actual real acoustic innovations that have created entire shifts in acoustic playback. UniQ, it's taking the high frequency driver, putting it in the acoustic center and mid range. We're going to talk a lot more about that. Metamaterial absorption is the ability to take that back wave from a high frequency driver, so taking that energy from a tweeter that goes back into the driver or back into the cabinet and completely absorbing it with this metamaterial. Unicore, let's take two active drivers and make them run off one voice coil, one motor. I mean, that's incredible technology. People have tried to do that for decades. We made it happen. And then Music Integrity Engine is how all of our active products, as well as our subwoofers, are able to perform so well above their price point and their size. It's our ability to use DSP at a high level, ensure we get perfected playback. And so with manufacturing, I mentioned earlier, vertical integration means that we are able to not only design and engineer the products that we want to manufacture or make, but we're also able to bring them to life ourselves. So that means we're doing all the research, all the design, all the engineering, and all the manufacturing in-house. So we're not outsourcing pre-made drivers or pre-made cabinets. We don't have to go to someone's catalog and say, hey, what's the best sounding tweeter you have available? Or do you have any bass drivers that can do X, Y, and Z? Oh, you don't? Oh, well, this one comes close. Let's give that a try. No, we actually just designed the bass driver from the start to do exactly what we need. And this is true not just of our high-end stuff like the Blades or Reference. This is true from $250,000 retail all the way down to a $400 retail 6.5-inch in-ceiling speaker. They are engineered, designed, and manufactured 100% in-house. And that gives us this performance that just can't be matched because we don't have all these different middlemen to pay. We don't have to go to this factory and buy that part, go to this factory and buy that part. It gives us complete control, and that's why, dollar for dollar, when you compare KEF versus any other product, if you attempt to match our performance, you're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20 times higher at retail to just try to match our performance, and I would go to bet we're still going to sound better anyways. And so to illustrate this vertical manufacturing, I want to kind of show off where some of the other brands that are out there exist. And we're not mentioning them by name. We just kind of want to point out those differences. And so if you look at most brands, they have no research and development at all. Some good brands have a little bit, whereas, again, vertically integrated, we have full research and development in Maidstone, UK. Raw material sourcing. A lot of times there's no raw materials. They're just buying third-party completed assemblies. good brands, which is where actually a lot of most hi-fi brands sit. Again, they're buying completed assembly, speaker drivers, crossovers, and then just assembling them in one factory. And for KEF, we're sourcing all of our raw materials. So all of our metals, our plastics, and things are coming into the factory. We're pressing drivers right there. So all of this is true in component manufacturing, quality control, marketing, sales is really, really important to bring out. I'm sure a lot of you, if you are on social media or on streaming on Hulu or Netflix and things, you have seen all of these like brands that kind of seem to pop up out of nowhere, shoe brands or clothing brands or watch brands, technology brands, and really all they are is they're these single tier companies that are 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 only just having somebody make a bunch of products for them. They're kind of creating that brand, and then they're out there just blitzing social media with things, saying, "Hey, look at this thing we've invented." That's a lot of what we're experiencing today in the Internet of Things, in fashion, and again, they're just marketing and sales company. When you look at KEF, it's really unique because we have a lot of marketing and sales initiatives that we're going to again talk about here in just a few minutes that really grow what our brand is capable of doing. And so we have that marketing reach too, but then have all that manufacturing, all that R&D and things to kind of back it up. Last and not least, at all, because this is what's most important to you, the dealer, or to those at the counter at 21st, it's the after sales service. The fact that KEF is this massive research and design company with incredible manufacturing capabilities. We have all that marketing, all that ability to reach out and get to consumers. But then we have all the back end as well. You have, someone like me who's a technical engineer, right? So if you're out in the field running into a problem, not sure where to install this in-wall speaker, you can reach out to many people at KEF and get all the support you need. And so we really come full circle to the entire sales cycle where a customer can see our product on social media, they can go online, find a place to get a demo, they can talk to a custom integrator, figure out how to design and set up and install a home theater, and then get all the support all right here from KEF US, which is really incredible for a global brand. Oh, my PowerPoint moved. And so our facility in Maidstone, UK is where we do all of our research and design. It's also where all of our flagship speakers are made. You can see here one of our techs building a KEF blade. So the muon, the blade, and reference are all hand assembled. One person hand assembles each pair of speakers. They're tested against the original loudspeakers that were developed years ago to make sure the playback is absolutely perfect. You actually get a chart with the muon reference and blades that show its readout against the original. Really, really neat for our performance speakers that are made in the UK. So now we're going to dive right through into UniQ. And this is like the most important thing because UniQ is what makes sound feel real. That's really what matters, is that I want someone who's out there shopping for a way to listen to their music or watch their movies to sit down and listen and go, wow, that sounds like I was in the studio with them. And UniQ can do that. It's been under continuous development since 1988, and it delivers that natural sound over a wide area. And that's what allows someone to sit anywhere in the theater, anywhere in the listening space, and get that enveloping experience. What's unique is that every single technology within KEF is to make UniQ better, and UniQ is found pretty much on every single speaker that KEF manufactures. It's not on a couple of the T series because it's just too thin for UniQ to work, and it's not on our dual voice coil CI speaker. Otherwise, it's in every single speaker within KEF. There is not one single driver for UniQ. Again, this goes back to our ability to be a vertically integrated manufacturer. So while the drivers may look the same on the outside, what's behind them is completely different. Every single UniQ driver is bespoke built for the speaker it's going in. That's total insanity, by the way, for any other manufacturer in this industry. They typically buy, hundreds of one driver, and they're going to put it every single place they can to get their money back on it. We're able to design just a few drivers, however we need, whatever we're doing in the factory. So whether it be an R series, a Q Meta, a Blade, every single UniQ driver is tailor built for that product. And that means its performance is always going to be top notch. So when we look at traditional speaker manufacturers, traditional other types of speakers, the big thing is they don't have UniQ. And so their high frequency driver and their mid-range driver, the ones that are still very directional, as we go higher frequency, we get more directional, more like a laser. As we go lower frequency, we get more wide off axis, more omnidirectional sound. That's why you can hear somebody's subwoofer from 15 cars over, but you have no idea what they're playing. You just hear the bass note. And so when I look at high frequency and mid ranges and other types of speaker layouts, they're always fighting each other, whether it be a coplanar like a typical tower speaker. They're coming from two different points in space. They're kind of fighting for your attention. Coaxial, which is how most CI speakers are manufactured, they have a tweeter in front and the woofer behind. And now they're really fighting. They're out of time alignment. They're going to get a lot of diffraction and distortion from those sound waves hitting the sides of the speakers and things. And it's not that it's bad. It's just there's a better way to do it, and that is UniQ. So we take that high frequency driver, we slide it back into the acoustic center of the mid range, and now I've got my high frequency and my mid range driver working together, playing in concert. They're coming from the same exact point in space. They're perfectly time aligned, and that means now that my high frequency and my mid range are going to blend together. I'm going to get a really wide off axis response, which means I can sit anywhere between a left and right speaker or a left center and right speaker, and I'm going to be in the sweet spot. I'll show you some pictures that are kind of funny about that, because if we look at traditional cabinet design or traditional in-ceiling design, and again, we're pointing out just the way they're manufactured, these other speakers, not necessarily calling out any other brands. That picture on the left is so interesting to me because I was an installer for years, and meeting with customers, the one thing they always hated was that bookshelf speakers had to be so towed in. So you had, on a shelf, so you had all these nice like books and knickknacks sitting on a shelf, and then here was a speaker sitting sideways so that it would point into the room more. Because you have to do that when you have a separate tweeter and mid-range, because that tweeter, that off-axis response for the high frequency is so narrow that for me to get a single sweet spot, I really got to point those speakers in at that main listener. And so if you look at everybody else in the room, they're just getting a mismatch of who knows what, not to mention the ones off to the sides. When you look at in-ceiling speakers that don't have UniQ, this is where it kind of gets silly to me, because it really points out the limitations of a traditional separated tweeter and mid-range. Some manufacturers try to angle the in-ceiling speaker. Well, that causes a lot of problems as well, because now I get a lot of angular diffraction off the corners of the drywall or the corner of the speaker itself. They're just not matched at all. And then a lot of in-ceiling speakers that are not angled, they have pivoting tweeter shenanigans. They try to take this tweeter and move the tweeter or point it and all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't work. Just get UniQ. With our off-axis response, we're looking at anywhere from 160 to 170 degrees of off-axis response from any UniQ driver. So that means if I've got a pair of bookshelves sitting on a shelf in front of me, don't have to tow them in. I can tow them in a little bit if I want to, perhaps, but they could be flat in the shelves, look like they belong there. Everyone in the room, as long as they're between the left and the right speaker, are going to be in the sweet spot. Same is true when I put them in ceiling. There is no difference. That's why we don't have angled in ceiling speakers. They're all flat to the ceiling. I'm anywhere in the room, I'm going to be in the sweet spot. And this is perfect for Dolby Atmos, for any application. Now, historically, when it came between performance and architectural, there's always two different paths. And that's the big thing with KEF that's just so different, is we have consistency and we have that DNA start to finish, regardless of what kind of product it is. And our competition simply does not. So that means every product category, every price point follows that same path, which goes back all the way to our founding, which is acoustic honesty, perfected playback, so you're hearing exactly what the artist intended. So top tier manufacturing, playback perfected throughout the entire product range. So that means whether it be a subwoofer, a wireless, hi-fi, a soundbar, architectural, or outdoor, just cover that up. You can see that.
You're so in trouble right now.
I know. Everything is going towards that ability to play back perfectly. So now we're going to kind of touch on some products quickly. The Q Series Meta just came out last year. It's kind of all a blur now. And so we took all those technologies that we had redone in the R series and just brought them down to our lower price in the Q series. So this uses a 12th generation UniQ with metamaterial absorption, has technology adapted from all the previous ranges, so from Blade, Reference, and R series. They're all three-way now, with the exception of the Q1 and Q3 and Q4 and Q8. It was a lot, sorry. If they have a bass driver, they're three-way. We've got 2 different towers, 3 different stand mounts, an on-wall, and a center channel that can be used as an LCR. We don't like to say center channel because it can be used for any speaker, as well as an Atmos topper. Every series that KEF manufactures has a goal in mind. Q series is meant to be powered by inexpensive receivers, good quality receivers from Marantz, Denon, Yamaha, Sony, whoever it might be, and they're all 4 ohm, so they're pretty easy to be able to be driven, but they can take a lot of good power, get you really good bass response. All the towers are rear ported, so you're going to get that really good in-room bass response. Really incredible, powerful line. The Coda W came out last year as well. Incredibly unique product. $1,000 retail for a pair of active stand mount speakers that not only do they have a whole host of inputs like HDMI ARC, analog, and digital input, but they also have a phono preamp built in that was designed and engineered by KEF as well. So this means I can take my turntable that does not have a phono preamp, plug it right into the back of the Coda W's, use the buttons on top to select the input, and I can now have a 2-channel vinyl system that outperforms anything for 3, 4, 5 times the price point. Has Bluetooth as well for lossless playback. A whole bunch of colors. 5 different colors are available in. 5 1/4 inch UniQ driver. Again, $1,000 retail. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the Coda W's or get a chance to play with them, I highly encourage it. They are absolutely incredible. LSX2s have been around for quite a while now. These have a retail price point of just a little more, $1,500. These add in, they can be truly wireless, so they can actually, each speaker plugs in, they can be wireless from each other. They have a 4.5-inch UniQ driver, and they have our W2 wireless streaming platform. So these are fully able to do all your streaming. You can do Bluetooth, AirPlay, AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, Qobuz Connect, as well as our built-in app that has a whole host of other streaming, HDMI ARC, optical, line input, analog, USB-C, subwoofer output. I mean, you pretty much name it. And these are available in three or four different finishes. We change colors so often I can have a hard time keeping track of it. But the LSX2s, again, another incredible player for an active loudspeaker. The Zeo soundbar also came out last year, and this has kind of been the darling of our line for a while now. At $2,500 retail, I'll put this soundbar against a lot of other people's 2-channel systems or even home theater systems. 820 watts of amplification, all built in, 12 drivers, 6 brand new UniQ MX drivers, these tiny little UniQ drivers, 4 ginormous racetrack drivers that actually make up the bulk of the Zeo soundbar. It's able to be mounted flat on the wall or tabletop. It actually has accelerometers inside to listen for where it's at. A really neat room kind of EQ system that actually listens to its near field area around it to modify the way it plays for the best playback possible. Subwoofer output as well as a built-in KW2 transmitter available in silver and black. And we like to say this is a spatial audio soundbar because it's not just limited to Dolby Atmos. It actually does Dolby Atmos as well as DTS:X and more to come. Subwoofers. I do have to take a minute and talk about subwoofers, of course, because we have one of the largest in-depth line of subwoofers out there. And when it comes to the price point you pay for a KEF subwoofer, I'll put it against anybody. Of course, there are probably louder subwoofers, but there are no subwoofers that are going to have the value, the price point, and the performance that we have. So on the Cube MIE series, we've got an 8, we've got a 10, we've got a 12, and we've got a 15, all for under $1,500. All sealed, front-firing subwoofers, incredible performers, able to shake a room. KC92, dual 9-inch side-firing, dual 500-watt amplifiers. This thing is performance leader within the KEF subwoofer lineup. Available in white and black, both gloss, amazing subwoofer. KC62, this one just keeps winning awards left and right because it's about the size of a soccer ball. Okay, World Cup time, perfect. Dual 6.5-inch drivers. This uses that Unicore technology. Able to play down just as low as the KC92 to 11 hertz, but for smaller size rooms where someone needs discrete size, available in titanium gray, white, or black. And the T2 subwoofer, while we still have it, this one is kind of being moved on to pasture, but it's a 9-inch front firing woofer that's only 7.5 inches thin for applications where you need a smaller subwoofer. All right, so now we're going to have to quickly jump into custom install before we get on to some marketing and last quick things.
Uno momento, por favor.
Of course.
There's an Adam question in the chat that I'm not capable of answering. Is the Coda UniQ a Q level driver?
It would be similar to it. The Coda does not have metamaterial on it, so it's a bit of a different driver. It wasn't needed for Coda to have meta, just with the way the amplifiers and everything works to it. So it's similar to a Q level driver, though. Good question. Very good. So as I mentioned from the very start, when it comes to CI loudspeakers with KEF, they are designed, engineered, and manufactured with the same attention and detail, just like our reference, just like the Blades, Q Series, R Series. So we have our Extreme THX home theater, we have in-ceiling and in-wall applications, we have subwoofers, and we have outdoor. This is the entire product range of CI. Now, I know this is a bit much to see, and we're kind of going through things quickly to meet our time demands, but you can see we have a range of CI that pretty much can fit any application you could ever imagine, from $12,000 retail each at the 5160 reference down to $400 a pair for the CI 160ER. So we have an incredible range of product in rectangle, square, round, you pretty much name it, we've got it. And there's some, with this chart, we typically have these all in stock at all the distribution branches with 21st, and you can go over to the CI display. Sometimes they're on the back there or the front counter. Everything in vertical columns is the same size cutout, whether it be in ceiling or in wall, and everything in the rows is the same product range. So we've got reference, we've got R series, Q series, C series, E series, and then T series, which is that thin problem solver speaker at the bottom. And so you can use this map when you're on a project. You can use this map when you're sitting down at home on your computer designing a system to kind of look and see what's going to fit and finish. And just like the Q series or R series or reference, each series has an application design in mind. So when you're working on a project, reach out to me, reach out to your RSM, reach out to anybody at 21st, and we can help you kind of design a system that's all going to work together to get that performance you're looking for. Just highlight quickly again on UniQ and why it's so important. So many other speaker manufacturers are trying to sell as many speakers as they can. Now we are too a little bit, but we're not going to have you design a kitchen like this, where we're going to stick 6 speakers in ceiling just to try to solve the fact that we don't have good off-axis response. All you have to do with KEF is use 2 speakers. Because of that off-axis response, we're going to get room-filling sound, which now means if I'm selling 2 speakers instead of 6, I can sell better quality speakers, better quality amplification, probably a better source too, and think of how much better that's going to sound than having to try to sell 6 amp channels, 6 speakers, and some blasé source all at the same price. Let's get a better performance done the right way.
Adam, do most of the architectural speakers have UniQ in it?
The only 2 that don't are the T series and the dual voice coil, which we really don't want to use the dual voice coil anyways, because so many streaming sources and amplifiers now are able to sum left and right to mono, and now you can get all the benefits of UniQ instead of doing a dual voice coil.
Right.
And so when we talk about Atmos or in-ceiling applications, again, this slide from earlier just had to touch on it again, that traditional speaker design just points out the flaws in not having UniQ, or if we have UniQ, we're going to get that really wide off-axis response, which is going to just give us that lifelike feeling of playback, and it's just going to be a significantly better system for no less work, no more money, honestly probably better margins to the dealer too. So I really proud of this to talk about our partnerships, because again, this is where the world has changed so much. If you're not building your brand as a manufacturer out there, telling consumers who you are, showing them use cases, why music is important or why movies are important or why just the artists themselves that we play back and listen to are important, you're not going to grow the brand. And so we have a lot of incredible partnerships, whether it be with Lotus in the Amera, which is actually really unique because it's actually manufactured by KEF for Lotus, whereas most other sound buy in other vehicles is just simply a badging. Overseas, we have KEF sound in higher TVs. We have Nothing headphones, which were the acoustic equalization things was done by KEF. KEF Lotus on the LS60s, we did a special edition of those. We had the Pedder Arcade where we did some LSXs in those. Journey through the creation of Ziggy Stardust with David Bowie, super awesome. We have an acoustic partner with Tom Dixon in Tokyo, acoustic partners with Paul and Paulin, which is a design studio, acoustic partner for Exhibiting Excellence by Titus Gaffar, which was the launch of his movie in an art gallery in LA, which is an incredibly unique event. And it's not on here, but we're doing the R11 listening series called the Rise events, where we've partnered with Melissa Etheridge to actually, Krista got to do the interview with her in Nashville.
Did. Very cool.
And we're playing back that video and her music at a whole bunch of our retail locations across the country to, again, build awareness to the brand, show off who we are, and really focus on the artists that create the content that we all love listening to.
Adam, I do have another question in the chat for you that hurts my head personally. So it's a long one. Can you see the chat? Or do you want me to read it to you?
If you can read it, because with sharing screen, I don't think I can see the chat.
I'll read you a story. You ready? It's from Sean. Many standard dual driver ceiling speakers suffer from comb filtering and bad off-axis response because the tweeter blocks the woofer or sits on an angled island. While the UniQ design solves the time alignment issue beautifully, how does the CI series handle the physical acoustic reflection bouncing off the ceiling's flat drywall surface next to the ultra-thin bezel?
Outstanding. Thank you, Sean. So that's what's unique about, I love talking to recovering audiophiles who only believe the best sound you could ever have is from a tower or a bookshelf speaker. And I like to bring up the point that's not necessarily true, because for a bookshelf or a tower speaker, when we're testing it in an anechoic chamber, when we're designing a loudspeaker, we ultimately don't know where it's going to go. I mean, we know it's going to go in a room of some kind, but we really don't know where that left wall is going to be. We don't know where the right wall is going to be. We don't know if they're stone or they're brick or they're drywall, or, oh my gosh, are they in a giant room where there is no wall anywhere near them. And so to EQ that crossover, to make the speaker sound as accurate possible, we still have to do a little bit of guessing, and that's fine. That's okay. But it doesn't mean we know exactly where it's going to go. With a custom install speaker, though, we kind of do. We at least know it's going in one wall or one ceiling, which means we can solve for the largest problem for a loudspeaker, which is the boundary it's in or near. We know it's going to be in a wall. And so when you look at our CI loudspeakers, what Sean is talking about is exactly what we're doing. We're actually looking at that flat surface, that baffle that's now created by the wall or the ceiling, and we're able to use that to increase the overall output. We're able to mess with the sensitivity because now we know we have this big baffle, and we're able to play with the bass response because, again, we know we have that baffle. The only question comes, as you can see here, mine's kind of close to a corner, is how close to a corner are we going to be? And that's really deceiving because I just want to point out that's over a foot away from the wall. It just looks like it's like an inch or two, but
I thought somebody was walking in on you. You're like, what?
And so we don't know necessarily in a corner, but for the most part, we know that we're going to try to get them away from a corner. But a corner is a unique place because a corner typically will increase the bass response through boundary gain, and it will give us actually better reflections because there's good and bad reflections you get from being in a corner. And that's, we can, in system design, we could talk about that. But the great thing is your playback is really going to be more accurate when using a KEF UniQ driver and a CI loudspeaker. That's why so many theaters and listening rooms I design, a lot of times will have in-wall loudspeakers, maybe in-wall subwoofers or freestanding subwoofers, because it really is going to get you nearly perfected playback. It's about as close as you can get because we know kind of where we're going. And that's why UniQ drivers do not need to be angled, by the way, as well. We don't need to have them angled in wall or angled in ceiling because we know how to play off that boundary. Absolutely fantastic question. And you can dive way more nerdy into that too. But again, it's just all about that playback. It's all about making sure that where the speaker goes, you're going to absolutely enjoy it. So now a place where you can get more information on all these technical nerdy things is the KEF Hub. So www.kefhub.com. And within the KEF Hub, you'll have access to a whole host of information. This is for our partners at 21st, the dealers at 21st, anybody who is a reseller of KEF. In the KEF Hub, we have it broken down into two main categories, training and resources. On the training side, you can go all the way from the very, very, very beginning to kind of speaker 101, all the way to full expert to understanding how our crossovers and uniQs are designed. With each of these lessons, you'll actually take a quiz at the end, earning points, which those points then can be used for massive discounts on KEF products, KEF swag, cool shirts, pens, hats, all that kind of fun stuff. There are already over 80 modules within the KEF Hub, and we're constantly adding more and more and more. More to come in the next few months too, as we add new products, which is super exciting. This kind of shows the whole e-learning of it. It'll show you what classes you've completed if you've taken the quiz, if you passed the quiz, and then points you can earn for it. On the resource side, this is where if you're running your company's social media pages, if you want to create a really beautiful sales spreadsheet for your customer within the specifications you designed for their project, you can get everything you need right here. If you see something from KEF online, it's going to be in here. I'm super proud to say too that even internally, we update the KEF Hub first before we even get the information. So when a new price sheet is made or new product information is added to the database, it's added to the Hub first, and then all of us at KEF have to go download it off the Hub. So if you're going in the Hub on a regular basis, that is the fastest place to get information and anything you might need on KEF. Awesome product videos, lifestyle photos, all the white papers with deep dive into technologies. Everything is here in the KEF Hub. Log in regularly. We're not doing it yet, but I know we're going to run some contests and things on the KEF Hub and some scavenger hunts and fun stuff like that in the future to keep everybody in there. Everything you need is in the KEF Hub. All broken down by categories, by product range. I mean, we could go on for hours on the KEF Hub, but I think that
it's KEF.com. If you guys go to our website, go to the KEF vendor page, the steps to register for it's right on their vendor page. The first thing you see when you go to KEF. So that's another way to get to it.
Adam, did you point out the points for product?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, missed that one.
Yep. So when you complete those trainings, you'll see. I don't think this isn't showing the full user login, but up here in the corner, you will see. Like this says my points 25. This is just a generic screenshot, but you'll see your points. You can set up your shipping address. You can set up your billing information because you do have to pay for taxes. Always got to pay for tax. And but yeah, you'll get discount coupon codes as well as other opportunities for KEF swag, stuff like that, all through the KEF Hub. But thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. I know that's a lot to cover. That's all the parts that are really so important about KEF. We kind of are a brand of one when it comes to listening. Our tagline is listen and believe. It's something we came up, right after COVID. It's the fact that just take one of our products, sit down, listen to it, and we know you'll fall in love with it.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Krista, thanks also for watching the chat. A lot of good questions out there. A lot of cool things also to come from KEF that we will update you on when that comes down the pike. Want to really appreciate, just so everybody knows, next week we're not going to do our Friday feature because of July 4th, but we'll see you the week after that. Sean and Brian, we're going to get you some prizes for asking questions. So really appreciate that. And thank you, Adam. Thank you, Krista. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, y'all. Take care.
You too.
See y'all.